Guath staying home, going to be in the red and gold. And Miles Bird also said that he will not be entering the transfer portal, but he will test out the draft process. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscriptions ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
San Diego Sports 760. It is the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Let's get it going on a Wednesday. I didn't start talking right away because I had to write down the most ridiculous, heinous thing that Sammy Long has ever said right before we went on air. We were going to save that, and everyone is going to hear it in 9 minutes from right now. You will hear what Sammy Long had to say literally seconds before we got on the air today.
I was like, why aren't you going? I'm like, where the show's starting.
I had to write it down because I love unasked for quotes from unsolicited quotes from Sammy Long to add into the show. But hey, we are starting today. This is one of those days it's pretty cool to be a San Diego sports fan. Look, we've never had a major championship in this town. We never have, and that sucks. And maybe we'll get there one day. But today feels like one of those days where it's pretty freaking cool to be a San Diego sports fan. So let's start with it, right? Padres 6-0, best start in franchise history, undefeated to go through their first 6 games of the season, swept the Braves in a 4-game series, have an opportunity today to sweep the Guardians. And that's cool on its own, right? Next to that, I don't know how everyone else feels about this, and I'd love to hear from you. Pretty sure the Padres just got one of the rising superstars in Major League Baseball at an absolute bargain deal. And now you say it's $135 million, and that's true. But it feels like they sort of fleeced Jackson Merrill. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm saying the Padres have a trio of superstars locked in over the next decade. And Xander Bogaerts also locked in for the next decade. But a trio of superstars locked in for the next decade of Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and Jackson Merrill. And that's pretty freaking cool to me, man. That means for at least the next 10 years, Padres are relevant because they have those 3 names attached to their team. Jackson Merrill, and I listened to a lot of his press conference earlier today. I listened to AJ Preller speak earlier today. Jackson Merrill did seem like he said the right words, right? He said, look, I wanted to make sure that a contract extension took care of my family first and foremost, but allowed me to be on a team that had superstars around you. Jackson Merrill, if he would have waited 2 more years, you could be talking Fernando money. You could be talking a 14-year, $340 million deal. But think about how this sets Jackson Merrill up over the next 9 years. He's going to hit free agency again by the time he's 30. In baseball, that's saying you're hitting free agency in the middle of your prime. So he will still have a chance to get that massive, massive payday, and $135 million with a chance to become 204 is a massive payday. But this was excellent on all sides. Locking up Jackson Merrill, who certainly seems like he's built of all the right stuff at this point in his career for the next 9 seasons, potentially 10 with the player and team option in that final year. This is huge for the San Diego Padres, man.
Yeah, it's ginormous. Now, the one person who should be fired is Jackson Merrill's agent.
Yeah.
Because
what are they doing?
I mean, this is a massive win for the city and Padre fans. I mean, you're getting a superstar who is 21 years old. He's locked on for 9 years. Xander Bogaerts is making what, 350?
Yeah. Fernando's 340.
340. Fernando.
Manny's a little more than that.
But I mean, Machado's unreal numbers. You just signed him on a bargain basement deal. And I get it. I mean, he's still making unreal money. It's cool that Merrill really is kind of doing a thing where we've seen this in the NFL. We've seen this where Tom Brady was kind of the first.
Not very often.
You've
seen it from one guy who actually took major team-friendly discounts.
Brady took less, then Mahomes took less, then Burrow took less. But we've never seen this in baseball because there's no salary cap. So guys are like, I'm gonna take up the whole thing. It's cool that knowing how cash-strapped the Padres are and considering the TV deal is not where it wants to be, that Merrill took kind of a hometown discount. And I mean, we were talking about
I didn't believe it.
We were talking about it yesterday. I think he's already the second best player on the team. That may be a hotly contested opinion.
It feels right to me.
70470, start messaging with team. Tell me if I'm crazy, but I honestly think he's the second best player on the team behind Fernando right now. And the fact that they just locked him up, got to give a little kudos to John Seidler.
Give kudos to John Seidler, which imagine we said those words, Sammy. Give kudos to John Seidler. Imagine if we said those words 2 months ago, 1 month ago. I think we'd be kicked off the San Diego airwaves. I honestly do. But look, John Seidler's looking pretty good today. He was looking pretty good when he was sitting in the front row.
You know who's having a tough day? Shield Seidler.
Oh, dude, don't even bring it
No,
up.
I'm just being honest, man. I'm just telling you. This is a massive win for John Seidler.
This is. It truly is.
And you talk about flipping a script from, what was it, 3 weeks ago, where he's talking about how, he used to basically, be a Dodger fan, and it's hard saying beat LA. And I think it was ridiculous that people were crushing him for that. But people were, let's just say John Seidler was not high on people's lists a month ago. Now, I mean, that script is completely flipped, and wow.
He just got a legitimate top 10 MVP candidate a year ago. He came in 9th in the National League MVP voting a year ago. He came in 2nd in Rookie of the Year voting and probably should have been 1st. That was the Paul Skeens bias. But you're talking about a potentially, we'll see what happens. Sometimes guys get paid and things flip around, but a potentially generational superstar out in center field for the Padres who just got locked up on a ridiculous discount, if you ask me. I honestly did not believe it when I saw John Heyman's tweet this morning. He credited Robert Murray. That lent it a little more credence. But I'm big in baseball of not believing anything until I see Jeff Passan tweet it out.
Yeah.
Because we've been burned before. Ken Rosenthal, Max Scherzer. We've been burned before here in San Diego.
Judge.
Arson Judge.
Arson Judge.
Oh, my God. It's happened over and over again. So I did not believe it when I saw John Heyman. I was like, no shot. Jackson Merrill's taking 135 mil. Not when Fernando's making 340. No shot. He took 135 mil. That's happening, San Diego Padre fans. Congratulations. All right, we got Coach Quintera coming up at 12:30 today.
Coach.
We bumped him up a day because of the Jackson Merrill news. And so we'll talk to Coach at 12:30 today. Obviously, we'll have long shots. So it's on a heater now, Sammy.
We're going to Vegas, boys.
It's officially a heater. That's 2 days in a row. I've cashed out, $227?
By the way,
over the last 2 days?
We're going to save this for later, but we have a special thank you to Anthony Edwards in maybe the backdoor cover of an absolute lifetime that happened last night. We all know Michael King was an absolute stud on the mound last night, but we're going to get into that later. But long shots, we're making some money for everyone today.
Sammy's doing God's work right now. He really is. I was at the Padres game last night. Pretty cool. They're doing it's Autism Awareness Month right now, actually, the month of April. Last night was the Padres Autism Awareness Night out at Petco Park. One of Kendall's students who has autism is the sweetest little kid you would ever meet in your life. His parents invited us to go to the Padres game with them. And when Jackson Merrill hit a home run last night, I've never seen a bigger smile on a kid's face in my life.
Awesome, man.
It was one of the coolest moments. Little Cruz losing his mind as the fireworks go off. He was so happy. A really cool moment. Thank you, Jackson Merrill, for providing that into my life. It was something I didn't know I needed, but a very, very cool moment down at Petco Park last night. All right, Sammy, it's time to hit the button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
If you want to give us a follow on the social medias, if you want to see our faces, at Fletch and Sammy on X, at Fletch and Sammy
Danny
on X.
just gave us a follow.
Who?
Danny,
what up? At San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube. Subscribe, like, we'd love to see it. Help out our numbers a little bit. At Fletch and Sammy on X, at San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube. That is streaming from noon to 6 every single day with John and Jim and the Fletch Zone here. Sammy, where are we starting today on the Big Three?
All right, it feels amiss to not start with the Padres. Jackson Merrill, 9 years, $135 million extension.
Load that money.
Do you think? I like that reference. Do you think right now the Padres are the biggest threat to the Dodgers for a World Series pennant?
I mean, yeah. Right now, 6 games in and 7 games for the Dodgers. Look, I had this whole take planned this morning when I was driving into work at sometime in the 4 o'clock hour before the Jackson Merrill news had come down about how the Padres and the Dodgers feel like they're in a staring contest right now because neither team has lost. They're both playing inspired baseball. You know, there hadn't been a 6-0 team in the National League since 2003 when the Giants did it.
Yeah, you got 2 of them now.
And you got 2 of them right now. It feels like they're in a staring contest. Like both teams are checking the box scores immediately after their games to see what the other team did. And we'll see who blinks first. But right now, it feels like you have to say the Padres are the biggest threat.
Yeah, I think there's certainly some. I think the Yankees are interesting because I was actually down on them before the year, but with the bats and Bellinger and Chisholm really playing out of his mind. The Diamondbacks, I think, are a really solid team, so I don't want to forget about them. But yeah,
we're 6 games in.
We're 6 games in. It's hard,
right? This moment, yes.
Both teams could go on a 6-game losing streak, and it could be the sky is falling. The Padres right now are playing really inspired baseball. I think they're one of the top favorites, and it's just been, you have that. We talked about this before with the Diamondbacks and the Padres. I think you have we don't have a fear factor of the Dodgers.
Did you see that quote from Jackson Merrill last night after the game? I don't know if you saw it, but he said, I honestly think this might have played into the reason the extension news came out today. He said, we're not just trying to win. We're trying to beat some ass. We're trying to go out there and kick something out. Whatever he said, I'm paraphrasing. And then he said, we're not just trying to win games, we're trying to beat some ass.
Right. Right. There's teams with loftier goals than just, and I think we've seen, the Padres sweep the Braves. The Dodgers so far right now have swept the Braves. The Dodgers beat the Cubs twice in Korea. And so now the Padres beating the Guardians. So they're playing good teams. They're not just beating up on the Rockies and the A's. Certainly a good start for both franchises, and the Dodgers and the Padres. All right, number 2, San Diego State. MAGOON Guath coming back, announced his return to San Diego State, and Miles Byrd will not be entering the transfer portal, but he will test out the draft process. How are we feeling about the San Diego State Aztecs?
I'll be honest, at the end of our show yesterday, we talked about MAGOON for a little bit. At the end of that conversation, I was convinced he was already gone. I really was. We said, look, most likely he's not returning, but it's cool that he left that option open. Little did I know he would take that option. And I thought about saying this earlier in the week, and I never did. I was going to say, and now I realize I should have, if he does decide to come back to San Diego State, that is the best pitch job that Brian Dutcher, Dave Velasquez, that is the best example of culture set in a program that we would have across the country, because MAGOON Guath for sure turned down hundreds of thousands of dollars making his decision to come back to San Diego State.
Yeah, and you got a blossoming star, a star that people probably around the country don't realize what they have on
What do you
hands.
think the number was Kentucky offered him?
Oh, I bet it was around $5 million. I bet $3 to $5 million. Kentucky's got Kentucky's not worried about the football program. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So I bet $5 million. I don't know what the numbers are that he came back for, but it's cool. You see how much this doesn't happen if you don't believe in your coaching staff.
I'd say also San Diego, put a pat on your own back. That means the money going into the Mesa Foundation, the money that's already committed with the Players Era tournament, that made a difference too. But I think that the culture of the program is number one.
And don't get this lost. The fact that Miles Bird's not entering the transfer portal, big deal. Because if I'm being honest, if Miles Byrd said, hey, I'm out to Michigan, I don't know that MAGOON Guath will be coming back to San Diego State, but you have two of the best players on the team last year, obviously minus Nick Boyd, but we'll see what happens in the transfer portal and who they add.
Nick Boyd may come back too. Who knows? It may be a whole party.
Who knows?
Reese Waters back next year also. Look, I have some legitimate excitement for next year's team for San Diego State.
All right, number 3, quickly, Trey Hendrickson, star pass rusher, led the league with 17.5 sacks last year. Disappointed by the Bengals owner on the contract. What the hell are the Bengals doing? How much should he get on the open market? And, do the Bengals have the defense to go on a deep run?
No, the Bengals do not have the defense to go on a deep run. They got a great offense, maybe one of the best ones in the league. They got a great quarterback. You could argue top 3 in the league. The Bengals are still a disaster on the defensive side of the football. So what was the news about Trey Hendrickson? Sorry, I got an email right as you said that.
He basically was on McAfee's show explaining how he was disappointed in the Bengals ownership, kind of the lack of excitement around him and wanting to bring him back.
He's going to get paid maybe just less than Myles Garrett. He's going to get paid big time. He was the sack leader. Is it the last 2 years in the NFL?
Last 2 years.
He's a stud.
And they treat him like he's just some trash rookie.
But again, if I'm the Bengals, I don't know that I'm necessarily paying him right away either, because you need to have money for the entire defense.
That's a good point. This is the problem with the Bengals is they've been irrelevant for so long, and then you get a lottery ticket dropped in your lap with Joe Burrow, and then you get Jamar Chase, and then you land T. Higgins. So credit to them for drafting. And they so badly, Joe Burrow basically kind of roped them into keeping both of them. He's best friends with Jamar Chase, played with him at college at LSU, and wanted T. Higgins. Now you have no money for the defense. The defense was 31st in the league last year. They were awful. They were on pace to be one of the worst defenses in the yards allowed in NFL history halfway through the year. And now the one guy on the defense that could do something, get after the quarterback, the guy that honestly has given Patrick Mahomes the most fits of any pass rusher not named Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson, now you're not going to pay and is saying he won't play if you don't trade him, he's going to retire. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't think the Bengals are a well-run organization. I think you're seeing that play out here.
All right, text line has exploded with both the news of MAGOON Guath and with Jackson Merrill. We will get to all your texts on the other side. Plus, let's open up the phone lines. Let's get some calls in. If you want to react to Jackson Merrill signing the contract extension with the Padres, if you want to react to MAGOON Guath making his way back to the Mesa, please do. 70470. Start your message with team for the text line. If you want to give us a call, we'd love to talk with you. 877-767-4760.
We want to talk to the people.
Give us a phone call. React to Jackson Merrill. React to MAGOON Guath. We'll take calls all hour if we need to. All show if we need to. 877-767-4760. It's San Diego Sports 760. We'll be right back. San Diego Sports 760, and this is Fletch asking you to download the Prize Picks app. It's free. It's easy to download. Takes about 60 seconds to get it on your phone. And then once you do, use promo code Fletch because you're going to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 entry. And I'll just tell you what's happened over the last 2 days. And I'm not opening my Prize Picks app right now. I'm opening my banking app right now because $227 has made its way into my bank over the last 2 days. And that's because of my wins on Prize Picks. Look, it's honestly, I hesitate to even say this. Been too easy the last couple days on Prize Picks. We had a winner that Sammy gave us on Monday. We had a winner last night that Sammy also gave us. If Sammy Long can do it, I promise you can do it too.
We're going to Vegas.
Download the Prize Picks app today. Use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. You're going to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 entry. And an entry is just that. You are picking more than or less than on stat projections for your favorite superstars across any variety of sports. Baseball, yup. Basketball, yup. Golf, biggest tournament of the year coming up next week. Yup, 2 weeks from now. Download the Prize Picks app today. And if you're a soccer fan, a volleyball fan, a baseball fan, a basketball fan, doesn't matter what you're into, Prize Picks has those sports available to you. Download it today. Use promo code Fletch. Get the $50 bonus and start winning some serious cash on Prize Picks, where you can run your game all season long. San Diego Sports 760 on a Wednesday. Great Wednesday if you're a San Diego sports fan, because MAGOON, the superstar freshman for the Aztecs from a year ago, the center, the big man, has announced that he's making his way back to the Mesa if the NBA draft doesn't work out for him, which at this point, I don't know. Sammy, would you think?
He
needs to put on 20 more pounds probably.
First off, and this is not me dogging Miles Bird. I think Miles Bird's a tremendous player and could really be a good player at the next level. His performance in the first four, just being frank, that's lasting in people's minds. A lot of people, the Aztecs do play late at night. So if you're East Coast scouts looking, people are watching that game. I think he would do himself a favor coming back because he does have the tools to be a legit NBA player. But I don't think going to the NBA right now would be in his best interest.
Maybe same thing for MAGOON. So we'll see. Both of them are going to test NBA waters, but we've heard that a lot with Aztec players who then return for the next season and improve their draft stock. We'll see if that's happening with both of them, but that's huge that MAGOON and Miles Bird are planning on coming back to the Mesa next year. Text line has blown up because of the Jackson MERRIL extension, because of the MAGOON news. So let's start with this 949. This was a topic we had yesterday where, Sammy, what was the question you asked?
It was, what if you, because we're going to give away tickets today, by the way, on this. What is if you could smoke weed of a blunt rotation with any person alive or dead, who would it be? We've had some tremendous people giving some really good answers here.
Again, that was Sammy Long asking the question, but 949 says late entry, but Bob Ross for the puff pass.
Very, very solid. I like
have
that.
Fallen asleep to the sound of Bob Ross's voice more than just about anyone.
It'd be very calming.
Yeah.
Jackson MERRIL might be one. Well, no, he gets suspended, so never mind.
949 says Padres will be competitive longer than the Dodgers. Their contracts will handicap them and will need to trade and drop contract in the next 2 years. The Dodgers don't need to do that, though, because they just have money.
Yeah, the MERRIL deal is excellent for the Padres. The Dodgers aren't going anywhere because of that deferred money. Basically, it's sitting in an escrow account. So all the Ohtani money, they're making more money overseas in Japan than honestly they're making stateside in terms of endorsements and things like that.
Right.
The Dodgers will be around for the next
760. You definitely are crazy. I must have said call me crazy, but
no, that was for me saying that MERRIL's second best player on the team.
I don't think that's a crazy thing to say, Sammy. I think it's arguable. Manny's played really well through the first few games of the season.
Yes, Manny Machado, because of his legacy, what he's done.
You're talking about a Hall of Famer.
You're talking about a Hall of Famer. If you want to give it to him, that's fine. I have no problems with that. But dirty little secret is Jackson Merrill played better than Manny Machado in the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
And as a rookie, I don't think anyone expected that. And Merrill played better than him and Bogarts. And I know people might not want to hear that, but Manny Machado has struggled in the playoffs before. And Jackson Merrill in his first postseason, I mean, he was raking.
He was also part of a team that went 24 straight scoreless innings against the Dodgers. Jackson Merrill was part of that too.
He was, but Merrill was better in that series outside of the first game home run from Manny Machado.
619, Sammy, did you just say Guath is back with the red and gold? Did you say that?
Yeah, I did.
Red and gold?
I meant to say
Scarlet and Black.
Scarlet and Black. That's right.
See, I was fever over there. 619 slow roll with superstar talk for Jackson Merrill after 1 season and 6 games. How has Julio Rodriguez's contract worked out for the Mariners so far? Look, I get it, and I said potential superstar. I do believe I said that, but Jackson Merrill is that. He is a potential superstar. If this works out, if Jackson Merrill has the type of career that I think he's going to have, that the Padres think he's going to have, this is going to be one of the cheapest looking contracts in all of baseball. 619 says, what type of strategy could Merrill and his agent be using in this type of a contract that everyone thinks is crazy? If he has a great few years, could he demand a new contract or a contract extension like Manny did when he got his payday?
That is a good point.
Of course that could happen. It could always happen in sports. Contracts in sports, contracts in radio are contracts until they're not. They can be ripped up and torn out, and that's a really great point from the 619. 858 says, put Sammy on the graphic. What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. 858, please elaborate.
I'm always for putting Sammy on the graphic, though.
Yeah, Sammy loves to have his hair everywhere. Speaking of Sammy's hair, I teased this earlier. Sammy, literally during the open of the show. So Sammy does his update, plays the big voice guys open to the show. So I have 30-ish seconds between Sammy's last word of his update and my first word on air.
I think less than that.
And Sammy says, and I quote, I didn't get to do my hair at the beginning of the show today, so I'm going to have to take care of that. Can we get to the first commercial break sooner?
Well, no, I was like, we might need a break early, put a little pause in this thing. I mean, the good people are tuning into the stream, and the least we can do is put a presentation up. Fletch wears the same clothes every day, so we have to spruce it up and make sure we got the Van Halen shirt up here. Got to make sure the hair's done.
I'm on a week rotation at worst with my clothes.
You need to. I think we should go shopping and just spruce it up a little bit for the people on the stream.
I know exactly who I am at this point, Sammy. There's no change in this. All right. It is shorts. It is either hoodie or black t-shirt every day. Maybe a beer shirt I'll throw in there. Collared shirt every once in a while.
Can we wear beer shirts at work at
I wear beer shirts every day, pretty much. I'm probably wearing a beer shirt underneath this. No, I'm actually wearing an Alex Morgan shirt underneath this.
All right.
But I got about...
But no one can tell because you have a hoodie on over.
10, 15 shirts, 3, 4 hoodies.
Kendall lets you leave the house like that?
Kendall loves me for who I am underneath the clothes, Sammy.
That's so cute.
Yeah. She prefers me completely naked.
Oh, okay. That's people are on their lunch breaks.
Take
Fletch.
that visual.
People are on their lunch breaks. No one needs to talk about that.
The news of the day is Jackson Merrill, though. We could talk about MAGOON Guath all day long. Believe me, I could. I think he has a crazy high upside. But the news of the day is absolutely Jackson Merrill, and he hits a home run last night. And look, the Padres just beat the Guardians down last night. That 5th inning, the Guardians made so many mistakes, errors all over the place. Their third baseman dropping the infield fly. It was just bad night for the Guardians. But a lot of that was because it was a really great night for the Padres. We haven't talked about Michael King yet, who was dominant, who was striking out fools left and right. And
Michael King, first off,
8 Ks through 3.
We talked about this last week. He got pulled in the 3rd inning, didn't look good in the first game. And it makes sense, though, because Dylan Cease, if he had been the opening day starter, he's been opening day starters. He's been the ace for rotations with his big pressure games. Michael King really hasn't. Michael King came on at the end of last year and was part of the Soto deal and was excellent. But I mean, that's a lot to be the opening day starter. I mean, the Petco's packed and it's cool seeing him settle down.
He was untouchable last night.
11 Ks. And who told you over on strikeouts?
Sammy did. Who told
Yours
you under
truly.
on earned runs allowed? I did. So we both win, Sammy. That's the good news. I think we had 2 separate lineups going on long shots yesterday. We both won.
Yeah, we won a lot of money yesterday. So my friend just texted me. I'm gonna preview this. We'll play it here later on this hour, beginning of next. Apparently, Jackson Merrill took a shot at Juan Soto in his presser.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, this is like going viral right now, and I'm gonna get it up so we can.
Yeah, we'll get it. We also have the Coach Quintero, coming on in just a little bit. We'll talk about Jackson Merrill's contract extension. We'll give you a little preview of what's come today for the Padres and the Guardians in Game 3. Padres looking for a sweep on getaway day. They head out to Chicago next, take on the Cubs for 3. That begins this Friday. But Coach Quintero is going to be joining us coming up next. Now, we do have a pair of tickets to give away today. It's the Outlaw Music Festival out at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on May 15th. We're going to give those away on the Talkback mic. So if you open up the free iHeartRadio app, listen to San Diego Sports 760, find that little red microphone button. It's right next to the play button at the top right corner of the screen, and you are going to be able to leave a 30-second message. The question for the day, Sammy, is
who is in your ideal blunt rotation, alive or dead? Even if you don't smoke weed, if you just want to sit there and be around.
So what celebrity, alive or dead, do you want to hang out with in a basement that smells like weed?
I went to San Diego State, and actually where most places they teach you, where the mess hall is on freshman orientation, they teach you where the dorms are. It's actually part of freshman orientation.
That's a really great endorsement of San Diego State.
No, hey, if anyone at high up at San Diego State's listening, listen, I went there. Love the school. Couldn't recommend it more than anyone.
And you just called their colors red and gold. So who would know better than you, right, Sammy?
Hey, we don't need to talk about that. I was doing my update up here,
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Coach Quintero joins the show. Get those talkbacks in if you want to win the Outlaw Music Festival tickets. San Diego Sports 760.
This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air. The big news of the day, Jackson Merrill, 9-year, $135 million extension to keep him as a San Diego Padre. The Padres play today as well. They'll be back at 1:10 at Petco Park playing the Cleveland Guardians. Guardians are currently 2-3 on the season. Padres will be going with Dylan Cease on the mound, and Ben Lively will be going for Cleveland. The Padres are currently a -190 favorite. And MAGOON making his return to San Diego State after taking a meeting with Michigan and Kentucky. Anderson's drain stoppage guarantee. Solve issues for $63 or it's on the house. Nobody wows clients like they do. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air has been privileged to serve over 500,000 residential clients for more than 45 years. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
San Diego Sports 760. It's the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. News of the day: Jackson Merrill signing a 9-year, $135 million deal. Has potential to get up to $204 million based on that 10th year, which is a player option, team option sort of deal. There are lots of fine print on this one, but as we kind of get going, who better to get immediate reaction from than the coach, Coach Quintera? You can find him on YouTube at San Diego Sports Talk. Subscribe there. He's putting up updates all the time. Coach, how are you this morning? What's your reaction to Jackson Merrill?
Well, Fletch, first of all, thanks for you and Sammy having me on. I'm very excited. I was getting ready for my podcast this morning about 8:15, and I was writing down some last-minute notes, and all of a sudden, boom, I find out the Padres are holding this press conference, made a couple of quick calls, got all the information, and so when I hit the ground running at 9 o'clock this morning, I was pretty fired up. This is a great deal, I think, for both sides. I know a lot of people reached out and thought, well, you know what? Maybe he left a lot of money on the table. Well, maybe initially, but again, he's not going to turn 22 until later this month. And even if the Padres, then I would assume if his career goes the way we're hoping it's going to go, they'd pick up that final year, a decade from now, and he'd still be a free agent when he's 32 years of age. And, if he's got a good financial guy, which I'm sure he does, he'll invest a ton of this money and he's going to do very well. But this really works out well for the Padres. I mean, we've been sitting around for years talking about when are the Padres going to actually develop a guy in their minor leagues and get him to the big leagues and let him be here for a while. And Jackson Merrill's the guy, and very excited about it. What's amazing, if you look back, just the 2023 season, he started out in high A ball in Fort Wayne. They moved him up. He played only 46 games of Double-A baseball before he made the big leagues last year with the Padres out of spring training.
Coach, looking at just the Padres, obviously 6-0 start, unbelievable. Who on the pitching staff has impressed you the most after Michael King's 11K start last night?
Well, I thought Michael King was outstanding last night, and I think. We talked last week, before opening day, and it was one of those situations. I think he was just too hyped up. He was trying to do too much and, got himself into a real pickle and got taken out. He couldn't even get out of the third inning. And, last night, this might sound a little funny to people that, even watch the game, but, I don't think he had his great stuff last night, and he still struck out 11 batters. And the 5 innings he was out there, he had his 4-seam fastball going really well. His 2-seamer was good. His sweeper wasn't really on point last night. I think he threw a couple of good changeups, but really he motored through that lineup, and that's a good lineup, by the way. Cleveland brings to town. They might be scuffling early in the year, but that's a good lineup. You got to make good pitches, and I thought he basically did it with his 4-seamer and his 2-seamer last night. But I was at the game on Sunday. And, man, that game was over before it started. Nick Pivetta, you talk about a hot knife going through butter. He was absolutely fantastic, just dominating for 7 innings. And, I think, we talk about the starters, Sammy, but, at the end of the day, this bullpen, I think, has given up 1 run in 24 innings. And they've been used a lot, especially in those first 2 games. So, really, this team is firing on all cylinders. If you can't be happy with the way the Padres are playing now, you're never going to be happy.
It's everything is turning up Padres so far, Coach. Coach Quintera joining us today on San Diego Sports 760. You can subscribe to him on YouTube at San Diego Sports Talk, putting updates up all the time. Coach, when you look at the Padres, the early season success, it's really been such a flip from what was going on this offseason, where everything was very doom and gloom. You had the lawsuit going between Shield and John Seidler and the rest of the Seidler brothers. Well, John Seidler today, as he sits in the front row of a press conference in which Jackson Merrill is signing off with the Padres for the next 9 years, is looking like the people's champion as of this exact moment. So have the Padres, I mean, are things settling down a little bit at the top right now? Is everyone going to start feeling a little more comfortable with the situation?
Well, I said all along, and I know people are, I don't know what they expected the Padres to do in the offseason. I guess, you ended up signing Pavetta late. There were some free agents out there, but they were guys you wanted to bring back. And I mean, Profar is one of them. Let's be honest. A lot of people wanted to see Profar come back. And I said all along, you can't bring this guy back because he's going to get too much money. And, he's a 245 career hitter. He had a career year last year. To be honest with you, I think all those numbers have to be looked at a little bit closer now. I know he said he passed 8 drug tests last year and all that, but man, his year last year was far exceeded anything he had done in his previous 10 years in the big league. So you got to wonder, even though he passed the drug test, a lot of these guys try to outsmart the law, and they're usually 2 steps ahead. So I don't know, but I got to look at those numbers with a grain of salt. But I never thought he was going to come back. I think long term, I'm still a little bit concerned of what they're going to get out in left field, what they're going to get out behind the plate. But again, they're off to a great start. Hard to argue with anything. I think the catching has done a good job to this point. I thought Diaz laid down a fantastic sack bunt last night. He ended up going 0 for 3, but a great bunt, moved to runner up. And Jason Hayward starting to swing the bat a little bit better. Brandon Lockridge certainly has played very well out there in left field. But, we'll see. It's a long season. They're off to a great start. They're still, it's amazing. They're still trying to catch up with the Dodgers, have played one more game, and they haven't lost yet. But this ball club is fun. They've got 13 stolen bases. I mean, they're doing everything, all the little things you need to do. And think about this. Right now, Luis Ariz is hitting 087, and the Padres are 6-0 right now.
Coach, what is your thoughts on the torpedo bats? Do you like them?
I like anything where I can become a better hitter. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how many guys are going to try to order them. They're probably going to be on back order. So many guys are probably going to order them. But, we'll wait and see. But you know what? There may be something to them. I mean, you got a guy from MIT that, did his due diligence on that. And, some guys have a tendency to, hit the ball a little bit more down on the handle. And if they know that, then who knows? Maybe there's something to it, but, we'll see.
All right. Last thing here, Coach, and this probably is an hour-long podcast topic, but when you look at the money that Jackson Merrill signed for, 9 years, 135, potentially more than that with the 10th year, and then you look around the rest of baseball, hell, even on the Padres, Fernando, what was it, 13 years, 340? Juan Soto with close to 700, Shohei Ohtani close to 700. Like, when you look at Jackson Merrill and the potential that he has, I know it's been a year and 6 games. I just feel like there's a lot of zeros missing on this contract, Coach. What in the world do you see Jackson Merrill as one of those 10 years, 600 million type guys, or is this more close to what he should be?
Well, I think it's more close to what he should be. I mean, let's face it, it's a very small sample size. I remember Joe Charbonneau. I think a lot of the fans may remember him. It's kind of unique to Cleveland's in town, but he was the AL Rookie of the Year, and everybody thought he was going to be unbelievable. He'd won a couple of batting titles down in the lower levels, and he ended up getting hurting his back, and his career amounted really, quite frankly, to only that first season. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill's a far superior athlete than what Joe Charbonneau was, but I think a lot of security, and let's remember something here. Jackson Merrill came from a family of hardworking folks. They're both teachers, and he's going to be fine. And like I said earlier, I think he's going to have good people in his corner. His agent, I'm sure, has got a good financial person. They're going to invest that money. He's going to do very, very well. And again, he'll be 32 years of age if he does become a free agent with the Padres. I think Jackson. The other thing about this, Jackson Merrill wants to be here. And that's the kind of guy you want in your organization. He's doing everything right. I mean, I don't know how many people paid attention to spring training, but, normally when you get taken out and you're a so-called veteran, and he's a veteran of 1 year, they normally grab their bag and they wander through and sign a few autographs, and they're off the complex before the game's even over. And, for the guys that like to play golf, they're playing golf in the late afternoon. When the young guys are still, coming off the ball field from an exhibition game. Jackson Merrill stayed in the dugout all the innings. And I know some of those guys he play with the minor league, he's supporting them, but that says a lot. I mean, this guy's bought into Padre baseball, and obviously he made a long-term commitment. He feels good about it. The organization certainly feels good about it. And I think all of us Padre fans, we're ecstatic today, clicking our heels about it.
It's pretty cool, Coach. It really is. Are they 7-0 at the end of today's game?
I think so. I think Dylan Cease's going to go out there and throw one heck of a ball game. And you're getting a ball club. And I think, Atlanta's really good. And I think Cleveland's a really good team. But the Padres are just been better prepared. And they've made two, I think, very talented ball squads look, quite frankly, pretty bad. And I think they roll, they get an off day in Chicago, and then they've got those 3, 11, 20 start times in Chicago before they finish up the road trip up there, taking on my old buddy Mark Kotsay in the A's before they come back home for Colorado and Chicago. So I think they're going to have a solid road trip, but I think Dylan Cease deals today, and the boys are going to have a very, very happy flight to the Windy City.
Coach Quintero, appreciate your time as always. You can subscribe to him on YouTube at San Diego Sports Talk, putting updates up all the time. Coach, we appreciate it as always.
You're the best.
Hey, Fletch, thanks a lot to you and Sammy, and keep up the great work. People are talking about you.
Hey, love to hear that. Hopefully it's good things. We'll talk to the coach again next week. Always appreciate his time. As we're headlong into Padres season and there's huge Padres news to talk about, we'll keep it going. Coming up next, long shots. Sammy is 2 for 2 over the last 2 days. That's about as good as Jackson Merrill's been hitting. We will get the third iteration this week of long shots coming up next. It is San Diego Sports 760. Speaking of SDFC midweek live tonight, 6:00. Darren Smith is going to talk to the head coach of the club, Mikey Vadas. We'll give you all the latest MLS information. SDFC live tonight, 6:00, right here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, we got long shots coming up in just a minute. We will give Sammy tons of props because the last 2 nights, Sammy has made us some.
I'm going to give myself props.
Be Less Humble 2025.
Be Less Humble 2025.
I think he has T-shirts made about that. I don't know.
We're going to start selling merch on this show, and I'm going to see people walk around San Diego with Be Less Humble 2025, and then you walk around with a kind of confidence that you might not have had before.
Maybe, Sammy. That's a good idea. Great chatting with Coach Quintera. Look, the text line is blown up. This text from the 619 really stuck out to me. Merrill is a 10 for 600 type of player. This is such a team-friendly deal. LFG Action Jackson. The only thing that sticks out to me in the text is his name is Jackson Farrell Merrill. I don't know about Action Jackson. I know the Padres say that all the time, but
that's the PC one.
Come on. He's Jackson Farrell Merrill. 949 says Michael, the Mercenary King, is the man. He is back, baby. 619, red and gold, Sammy? Really? Seems like Sammy really wants to smoke weed with Fletch.
Listen, I went to the school. I have a degree from there, so no one needs to question my San Diego State card. I was looking at had the Lakers on my mind, and then I was looking at Chiefs news. So we got a little confused.
Scarlet and Black is San Diego State. In case you weren't aware, Sammy.
I know.
Their official school colors
I know
that
it's Scarlet and Black.
Scarlet and Black. 619. I thought Merrill's shot was at Otani, but the other texters are correct. It was a shot at Soto. The kid's got game on and off the field. So when I was watching the press conference earlier, I heard this quote, and his shot that he took at Soto, which we'll play it for you coming up in just a couple minutes. It was a shot at Soto for sure. But that was the part that I completely glazed over because I was getting to the fact that he said, I just wanted to do right by my family and then be able to surround myself around a good Padres team the rest of the career. But it was totally a shot at Juan Soto, and that skipped right over my head the first time I heard it. We'll play that for you at the very, very, very beginning of hour number 2. But Sammy, you got a bit of a victory lap to take, but I don't want you resting on your laurels here.
I don't rest on my laurels. We're going 3 for 3.
Have we ever had a 3 for 3 to start off a week?
Yes, we did 2 weeks ago.
I don't believe.
Let's not have. I opened up March with an absolute heater. I hit 4 straight.
No way.
Yes, I did.
No
Listeners
way.
can back this up. First off, we're making everyone money. I was talking with one of our great listeners, Tyler, last night. He was texting me during the Anthony Edwards Minnesota Denver game last night.
So Anthony Edwards had like 8 points through the first half. And then all of a sudden explode. When he finished with 35, something like that.
Thank you for Michael King. Corbin Burns was very solid. Grayson Allen had a big game as well for the Suns.
23 points.
Anthony Edwards, 13 points going in the fourth quarter. This dude hits back-to-back threes with 2 minutes to go, ties the game, goes to OT. They get him the ball the whole time. Anthony Edwards is on our love list.
We love Anthony Edwards.
Who's banned, Fletch?
Well, I thought Grayson Allen was, but no.
Karl Anthony Towns has not earned our trust back yet. That's not happened.
There's a pitcher too, isn't there?
We don't have a pitcher yet, unless you want to add someone. Andrew Nemhard, a college player.
That's
don't want to trash college kids.
Kyle Nemhard, the college player. His brother is
Andrew Nemhard. Kyle Nemhard. No, it's Andrew Nemhard. All right, this doesn't matter. Anyway,
Ryan Nemhard. That's the Gonzaga player.
Ryan Nemhard. That's who. He's blacklisted. He's cost us multiple parlays.
Well, let's see what we got today. It's time for long shots.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait, got it. It's time for Sammy's long shots.
Thank you for everybody who's jumped on the stream. Appreciate that. Just popped up the number 169. Nice. But on X at Fletch and Sammy, and then on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760, you can watch us every single day there. Sammy, where are we starting with long shots?
Seriously, it means a lot when you guys tune in. And I told you, we're running down those John and Jim numbers. Make us be able to come to Jim and John and brag, when they come in here. They're walking with their head held a little too high. I'm just kidding. John and Jim. I'm kidding. We love them. Really, it's more Jim.
Do you see the Photoshops are already going online on X of Jim Russell's bald head interrupting the Jackson Merrill conference?
I told him that we need to invest in a little Rogaine. I think we could really get some good endorsement money there.
Maybe.
Anyway, long shots. We're trying to make everyone money. No one cares about that. Jackson Merrill, he's going to want to show off for the contract. I mean, this could be a sucker bet, but I don't think so. I think home crowd, day game, coming off the thrill presser earlier today. I mean, he's going to be so locked in. 1.5 total bases. We're going more than.
I saw this one too, and I loved this one.
Yeah, because he's not getting a hit today.
But here's what more my brain went. It's been a distracting day, man.
Yeah, but I don't think you want to start out a brand new contract where you got a team friendly deal and not get hit. Jackson Merrill's gonna be locked in.
Okay.
Because I would have expected him to come out sucking this season because of the second kind of sophomore slump, but he hasn't. He's been absolutely locked in, tearing it up. We're going more than 1.5 bases for Jackson Merrill. I think this is an easy cash. Number 2, sticking with baseball, Yankees and Diamondbacks. Zach Gallen, Carlos Rodon, less than 0.5 first innings runs allowed. Zach Gallen is an excellent pitcher. Corbin Burns kind of gets the headlines because he was the big offseason acquisition. But Zach Gallen has been the ace for this team, was the ace on the World Series team. He's going to be money. And Carlos Rodon, I think the Diamondbacks kind of hitters have been getting going later in games.
Where's this game? Is it in New York?
It is in New York.
I don't feel good about it anymore. This is my favorite pick on Prize Picks, by the way. The less than a half run scored in the first inning. It almost always hits. In New York, short porch.
It hit last night.
Okay, I'll trust you.
I'm giving you a veto. So if you don't like it, we'll get rid of it. But I like it. Zach Gallen, Carlos Rodon, under on first innings runs allowed. Second, we're going to the association. We have 2 primetime games tonight. The Knicks at Cleveland. This is a big game for New York. This is a big game for the Knicks because they have been awful. I believe they're winless on the year against Boston and Cleveland. So there's really there's tiers in the Eastern Conference. It's Cleveland, Boston, a cut above everyone else. We kind of all thought the Knicks were going to be there. They have the talent to play with these teams, but they haven't. Jalen Brunson is out for this game tonight. He should be back for the playoffs, but he is not playing in this one tonight in Cleveland. But I think the Knicks are going to surprise some people. I think they need this win a lot more than Cleveland does. Josh Hart, more than 12 points. He struggled the last few nights. He sold a couple parlays. Talking to our buddy Tyler, he actually texted me that Josh Hart sold a parlay. I think he's getting a little get back tonight. OG Anunoby's been excellent for the New York Knicks, and I think they're going to be keying on him with Brunson out. Josh Hart's going to get some touches. I like this. More than 12 points.
Final pick?
Detroit to Oklahoma City. I'm excited for this game tonight. Oklahoma City, everyone's talking about how they're just going to run through Detroit. I think Detroit is personally one of the most fun teams to watch in the entire NBA. They're really young.
Bad boys.
Cade Cunningham, Malik Beasley. Now, they're missing Isaiah Stewart and a few guys because when they got in a major fight with the Timberwolves 2 days ago, massive ejections. It's always a fun time when the Pistons play.
Do you see NBA Centel's tweet about that?
Yeah. Yeah, go check out NBA Centel.
It's a great follow, man.
So there's a lot of people not playing this game, so no one's really giving Detroit much of a shot.
You see, Sam, because there was like 7 ejections, but they switched out the word ejections.
I know. And
it was really funny. So who's your pick in the game?
Malik Beasley, more than 15.5 points. Cade Cunningham's an absolute baller. If you want to go over on him, that's fine as well. But the Oklahoma City's #1 defensive efficiency in the entire league. They're #1 in many defensive categories. They're going to be keying on Cade Cunningham. Jalen Williams will probably be guarding him and Lou Dort the whole game to let Shai Gilgeous-Alexander kind of do his thing. But again, this is another game where Oklahoma City doesn't really need this game. They're so far ahead in the West in the first overall seed. This is not really a pressing game for them. The Pistons need this a lot more. Malik Beasley is a sharpshooter. I think he's going to get open. Cade Cunningham going to get a lot of assists tonight. Malik Beasley, more than 15.5 points. He's a big-time player, played in a lot of big-time games. So, to recap, Jackson Merrill, more than 1.5 total bases. Zach Gallen and Carlos Rodon, less than 1 inning first inning runs allowed. I don't know why I can't say that. Josh Hart, more than 12 points for the New York Knicks. Malik Beasley, more than 15.5 points for the Detroit Pistons. You going to veto one?
No, because I'm trusting Sammy. #trust Sammy. Because he's on a 2-day win streak, and I feel like this is a good one. Here's what I will say. Can I clarify something on this one?
Yes.
So the Jackson Merrill 1.5 total bases, that does not say Jackson Merrill walks and he gets to first. That does not just count as 1, right? So if Jackson Merrill hits a double, it's based off of hits.
Yes.
So if Jackson Merrill gets a double, that's 2 total bases.
If he gets two singles, he hits it.
Right. If he hits a home run, obviously he hits it.
Because the thing with this lineup is you can't just walk Merrill. Because you if you're pitching around anyone, it's Tatis.
So you still feel good about it.
I still feel good about
errors
this.
don't count in this.
Errors don't count in this. I think he's gonna get a couple hits tonight.
If he hits a single and then someone right behind him hits a single and he gets to second, that's still only 1 total base.
It's only 1. I know. I'm going with bases because you can't. This is why the Dodgers and the Padres are so good. Because the top of the lineups are so ridiculous. You can't, and then the middle part of the lineups are good. You can't pitch like the Dodgers. You're going to pitch around Ohtani and Betts, and then you're going to, pitch to Teoscar and Freddie Freeman? Same thing here.
Didn't Freddie Freeman slip and fall in the shower and break his leg again or something?
Yeah, he's out for a little bit. It was it was a crazy injury. Like he re-injured the ankle.
Yeah, he slipped and fell in the shower.
Honestly, though, Freddie Freeman's better when his ankle's messed up because that's when he's tearing it up in the World Series. Alex Rodriguez said a thing where it keeps his front foot planted when your ankle's hurt, so it actually helps power hitters.
You know, I found that in my golf game. When I was recovering from my broken leg,
comparing yourself to professional athletes, not something we do.
But I did have a broken ankle leg area. It was my tibia and my fibia. And I did find that my golf game, when I was in my cast, my swing was better. I don't know what that was. I was hitting the driver more accurately. My slice was cured. And I think it was because I was putting less pressure on my back foot. Maybe that's something to think about in life. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. Hour number 2 is coming up next. Obviously, there's going to be a game in progress during our hour number 2. So we get to have some fun. We get to talk about whatever we want, Sammy. That's coming up next. San Diego Sports 760. Plus, Jackson MERRIL Sound on the other side, taking some shots at Juan Soto. You want to hear it? We will play it for you in 5 minutes.
This sport sponsored by the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. The Padres getting going here in 10 minutes. They are currently a minus 185 favorite. Dylan Cease on the mound. For the Padres, well, the Guardians will be going with Ben Lively. The run line is set at 7.5. And the big news of the day, Jackson Merrill, 9-year, $135 million extension.
Ferrell Merrill, Sammy.
To stay in San Diego. Big NBA game of the day. Knicks playing the Cavaliers. The Cavs are currently favored by 10.5. That game will get going at 4 o'clock. Jalen Brunson will be out. Step into springtime at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. From March 29th to April 20th, celebrate the season of transformation with a stroll through Butterfly Jungle. Deliver a kaleidoscope of beauty with butterflies of every size, shape, and color. Learn more about this vibrant world at sdzsafaripark.org.
San Diego Sports 760. It's the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. We got some great sound from Jackson Merrill I want to play here within the next couple of minutes. Jackson Merrill taking a little bit of a shot at Juan Soto, you could say, but I do think in this soundbite, which is about 45 seconds long, he kind of sums up everything that went into signing this contract extension, and it's good stuff. It's what you want to hear from a 21-year-old that you just locked up for the next 9 seasons if you're the Padres. Padres also, important to note, and our buddy Danny Vietti, who joins this show pretty frequently, tweeted this out a couple hours ago, said the San Diego Padres now have team control of each of these players through at least the next 9 seasons. Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, and Jake Cronenworth is also signed through 2030. Say what you will about Xander Bogaerts and Jake Cronenworth, but those 3 guys, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Jackson Merrill, no matter what happens over the next 9 years, you feel pretty good about that being your core, right? And even with Xander Bogaerts, who we'll see, maybe this year he comes out of it, and maybe this contract doesn't look quite as awful as it looks as we're sitting here right now. But with those 3 guys, Fernando, Jackson, Manny, if health falls in the Padres' favor, and that's a big if, man, it's a huge if, especially with Fernando, especially with Manny. But if health falls in their favor, you feel pretty good about your core for the next decade.
The positive thing is,
when's the last time the Padres could say they felt pretty good about their core for the next decade?
Yeah, because Merrill and Tatis are 2 of the brightest young stars in baseball, and you have them signed for the next decade. Now, the Machado contract and Bogaerts has not panned out. Machado's still playing very well. He's getting up there in age, so we could be sitting at the last few years of that contract not looking great. Jake Cronenworth, hopefully he had a big home run Friday night, kind of turned on a ball. Hopefully he gets back to kind of that form he was in a couple of years ago. But yeah, if you're building around Tatis and Merrill, and the fact that the Merrill contract is so cheap gives you that ability to maybe spend a little bit more. Who knows? We've been saying that for a long time, but looks like they hit on Pivetta. Merrill, we all know, is a baller. So, and then you got some kids coming up in the system. You got DeVries and all of them. So, I definitely think the core is intact for the next 10 years.
I mean, maybe the other shoe drops soon, but I feel pretty good about the Padres right now for the foreseeable future. And that's something you have not been able to say maybe ever outside of the Tony Gwynn years with the Padres. Seriously, I think we're seriously going back that far to talk about how you feel really good about the Padres for the next handful of years. Sammy, let's hear from him. Let's hear from Jackson Merrill, the kid, Jackson Ferrell Merrill, who just signed a 9-year, $135 million contract extension that can bump up to 204 depending on that last year, which I honestly, baseball fine print's tough. It's like a player and a team option at the same time. I really don't know exactly what that means, but it could get all the way up to 204 and turn into a 10-year deal. Let's hear from Jackson Merrill on the signing, why he is taking less money to stay with the Padres. Let's hear from the horse's mouth.
I think just even hearing an opportunity to sign with the San Diego Padres is enough for me. But I also feel like there comes a line where you know your worth, you know your value. Listen, I know there's contracts out there that are beyond absurd. They're super amounts of money, but having a relationship with a real human being and a real team like I have here, you can't beat that. You can't just sign for $700 million and want everything to be perfect. I got people all around the clubhouse that are supporting me, supporting my family. They ask about my personal life every day. So, I'm just gracious for that. And I know that's going to be the same way for the next 9 years.
Wow.
Wait, was that the one where he said there's guys out there with 10-year, $700 million deals?
Yeah.
He said that just now?
Yeah. Were you listening? What are you doing over there?
Again, I was listening. I thought I was waiting for it. I thought I didn't hear it.
That definitely is a shot at Juan Soto.
And in that soundbite, you got to give a lot of credit to Mike Schilt. I really think you do. Like the culture that was in place when Bob Melvin was here, and like Bob Melvin has created his own resume. He's a great head coach, manager at the Major League Baseball level. But the culture that Mike Schultz has created, I think, plays big part into this. Like Jackson Merrill wants to be here for a long time. You heard Coach Quintero say that. I think it rings true. Right now, it is a very fun clubhouse to be a part of. 2 years ago, you could not say that same thing.
Yeah, and it's interesting what he said there with the Soto thing, because Soto really never felt like he wanted to be a San Diego Padre.
No,
it was a lot of, even when he was there, and
sometimes we give up.
Sometimes we give up, talking about how, remember the pitch clock? Remember the big thing was he was struggling at the beginning, and it was, well, I'm having to speed up my process. It's like, yeah, man, I mean, what do they say, get living or get dying? I mean, I don't know what to say. Like the pitch clock is here to stay. So if you want to get paid that contract, you got to do it. Clearly doesn't have a lot of loyalty. Washington, San Diego, New York really loves him, and then goes across the street to the Mets. So yeah, it's cool that there's a guy who really values being in San Diego, loves the city for what it is, and is here for the next decade.
And you look around that press conference today, and it wasn't just Jackson Merrill up at the podium next to AJ Preller and Mike Schilt. No, there were Padre players in attendance. The entire coaching staff was there. Like there is something special about that clubhouse right now, and that makes you feel good about being a fan. And I was at Petco Park last night. It's a Tuesday night. It was cold. It was dreary. It was windy. Place was absolutely packed, and people were going absolutely nuts. It took me an hour to get out. We stayed till the final pitch. It took me an hour from the time we left our seats in the stadium to get into the car, to leave the parking garage, to get back into my front door. And I'd do it again, because there is something exciting happening down at Petco Park. Me being someone who absolutely hates traffic more than just about anything in life. All right, it's our
real quick. 619 is asking for long shots last pick, because Merrill's about to get going here in 2 minutes. We got to lock it in. Malik Beasley over 15.5 points for the Detroit Pistons. 15.5. Just wanted to shout that out for 619.
Perfect. All right, it's hour number 2. We do this at the top of every hour. We take a trip around the world of sports and find the top 3 stories. Sammy Long, hit that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Where are we going for number 2?
You know, we're actually
Hour
going
2.
This is a little preview, but the Masters are close. Ooh, Masters are, what, 2 weeks away?
April 11th, the weekend of, yeah.
Right, so we're getting close. Where does the Masters rank on your calendar in terms of viewing all year of all sporting events?
It's up there. Now, for the last few years, my brother, who is 5 years older than me, but one of the favorite things we do together is golf. We have planned golf trips around the Masters. So this year, he's coming down to San Diego. We're actually playing back-to-back North Course and South Course, Torrey Pines, in the same day on the Saturday of the Masters. This is pretty high up there, Sammy. The Sunday, it's the one day of the year I prefer to be hungover. And I know that sounds a little counterintuitive, but I love just giving myself the excuse to lay on the couch all Sunday long of Masters coverage, watch it from tips to finish, watch it from the very beginning to the very end on Sunday. It's one of my favorite days in all sports.
Oh, it's one of the greatest. And even if, casual fans who don't lock in every tournament, every weekend on golf, but it's so fun watching it. And,
as of the last few years, it's the only time you get to see the actual best golfers in the world on the golf course at the same time.
Fun. It's fun that the LIV and PGA Tour has added this kind of rivalry, because a lot of these guys don't like each other, and they're pissed off that they left and they took the money, and it kind of added this other element, and then a competition within the competition of. I remember the first year it was, who's going to do better? Is the PGA going to go, yeah, we're still we're the premier, or is LIV Golf going to come in here and kind of show them up? And it's fun. I can't wait for it.
And at this point, the best golfers in the world are with LIV. It's like you got Scotty and Rory versus the LIV guys.
Yeah, literally. So I can't wait for it. I can't wait to get in the betting odds the week of.
Especially imagine that relationship between Jon Rahm and Rory McIlroy, who were like teaming up as the PGA Tour guys to fight against LIV. And it comes out, 6 months later, Jon Rahm signing hundreds of millions of dollars to go over to LIV. I love the drama, dude. Give me the juice. Golf's been missing it, but I wish all these guys were playing every single weekend.
Unreal. All right, heading to the UFC, actually, a little fighting.
Hell yeah.
So Merab Dvalishvili, I think I said that right.
He's the dude that beat Sugar Sean.
Rematch happening in June. Do we think that, number one, do we think it will be any different? And number two, does the UFC need Sugar Sean to win to keep elevating the brand?
UFC for sure needs Sugar Sean to win. Look, Dana has tied his, what's the phrase? Tied his wagon to that horse that is Sugar Sean O'Malley. Sugar Sean O'Malley, maybe the most marketable UFC fighter there is right now. Also, my Prize Picks brother. We're both endorsers for him. We're on the same level. I said that. But Sugar Sean needs the win. I hope that this is an extended training camp for him. You said June? June they're going to be fighting. And I hope that he really learns what happened last time, because Merab dominated him last time. It wasn't even close. Yeah. He just danced around and let Sugar Sean try to go for the big knockout blows, which is what he's good at, and Merab wrestled him to death.
It felt like in the last fight, Sugar Sean's still a great fighter. In the UFC, a lot of guys lose, and you still go on to great careers. But it felt like he was just waiting to land the one shot, kind of like he did against Aljamain Sterling. Every fight he's done, he's really landed his lethal right, straight right down the middle, which puts everyone out. And it looked flat-footed. It looked like the Merab wrestling aspect of it. In the Sterling fight, you got to remember, he never went to the ground. And
Sean got tired against Merab.
Got very tired, and he said after the Sterling fight that if he hadn't wrestled all camp because of an injury. So if he had been taken to the ground, he probably would have lost, but he landed that crazy straight right coming in down the middle in the second round. So I'm excited to see round 2. Sean is an underrated wrestler. Would love to see him get after it, but he looked flat-footed in the fight. Didn't look like he had much pop on his punches, and by the time he did try to start landing, he started too late. He kind of did the Floyd Mayweather thing where he waited 4 rounds before he even started going, trying to find his range, but he just looked tired.
He almost looked sick coming in, like he was dealing with the flu or something.
It was an ugly fight, and Merab whooped his ass, but at the same time, I think that the way he beat him is not a loss you can't come back from, because it was a lot of wrestling and he didn't really hurt Sean too much.
Hopefully Sean wins this one, then we get a rematch just after that, because when you talk about styles make fights, these are clashing styles, which I do think is good for the UFC, and I'd love to see Sean knock his ass out.
Totally. All right, going back to baseball, Dodgers 7-0, Padres 6-0, just starting right now. Diamondbacks have been on a tear. The Giants have been playing well. How many teams do we believe get in from the NL West?
It's hard not to say all 4. Like these teams, the way they're constructed right now, I feel like this is the best division in baseball. You don't have the situation where you're playing each other 19 times in a year. So you're not going to have the same situation of these teams just taking wins from each other.
Yeah.
They're only playing 13 times this year. It's 162 game season. That's a lot. Look, with the Padres and the Dodgers right now, it very much feels like a staring contest. Who's going to blink first? And a blink would equate to a loss. And I think both these teams are able to kind of look back and forth at each other as they check the box scores every single night and say, damn it, they won again. Like, I think that's what's going on right now. But the Diamondbacks and the Giants are no slouches, man. The Giants don't stay bad long, and they got a lot of money. They've kind of revamped the front office. The Giants are going to be good this year. Diamondbacks with one of the more exciting young teams in all of baseball. This is going to be a down to the wire, maybe not NL West. The Dodgers probably will pull out in front of everybody else at some point, but fighting for that 2 and 3 spot, both of which I believe will be wild cards. There's a real possibility all 4 get in.
I'm with you on that. Certainly 3. I mean, the Dodgers are lethal. Just up and down the roster. I mean, hell, Dustin May came back last night and he hadn't pitched for 2 years. He was money, only gave up 1 run.
Like, the Padres are playing perfect baseball right now, and that's gotten them to 6-0. Dodgers are just playing Dodger baseball right now.
Right. They're just doing what they do. The Padres look unbelievable. And I think one thing that's seen so far is the starting pitching staff is much better than a lot of people expected. I think the bullpen, after losing Tanner Scott, thought there would be more of a step back, but they really are tremendous. Estrada has been money. In the Diamondbacks, we've been saying, I think that's a really dangerous team in the playoffs for anybody. That is a team that is built on that starting rotation. It has 3 pitchers in Gallen, Kelly, and Burns. Even Brandon Pfaadt, who was a really good rookie last year, came in. That's a team that I don't think a lot of teams would want to face, just because going off a small sample size of a series, money. And to your point, the Giants just don't stay bad very long. They added some good hitting in the offseason, and doesn't look like the loss of Blake Snell is really affecting the pitching staff too much. So I can't wait for these division matchups. I'm really excited to see the Padres play the Diamondbacks, Padres play the Dodgers play the Diamondbacks. I can't wait to watch all these games and hope they kind of get going here soon.
Who loses first, Dodgers or Padres?
Well, that's tough.
Don't take into account what's going on right now in the first inning. Pretend we're not even seeing this.
I'm going to say the Padres, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I think the Cubs are a better team than the opponent coming up this weekend for the Dodgers.
Who do the Dodgers have? They're playing the Braves right now. So the Cubs are just better than anybody?
No, I think the Cubs need a win bad. Let me see the Dodgers get the Phillies.
Yeah, it could be tricky.
That's
I don't know. I mean, we'll see what
they probably both get a loss this weekend.
Both get a loss this week, and that feels about right.
The Cubs are a good squad. The Phillies are a good squad, and the Phillies and Dodgers have had some hell battles over the last few years.
It's been since 2003 that a team in the National League has started a season 6-0. National League has 2 teams right now at 6-0 and Dodgers at 7-0. It's pretty incredible what's been happening. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, time to play some of these talkbacks. Get them in if you haven't yet. Talkback mic is the little microphone icon right next to the play button when you're listening to San Diego Sports 760 on the free iHeartRadio app. Leave us a 30-second talkback. Tell us what, Sammy?
Who, alive or dead, do you want to be in your blunt rotation just to learn from?
So who do you want to sit in a smelly basement with?
We have some amazing talkbacks that I cannot wait to play in the next segment.
We'll play them coming up next. That's how you're winning Outlaw Music Festival tickets today. You got to leave a talkback. So log on to the free iHeartRadio app, San Diego Sports 760. While you're listening, you can hit the little red microphone icon, leave us a 30-second talkback, and you could win tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival at San Diego Sports 760. Download the Prize Picks app today. You're going to want to use promo code Fletch because when you do, you are going to get a $50 bonus on your first $5 entry. An entry on Prize Picks is easy. It's simple. It takes about 30 seconds to do. You pick more than or less than on stat projections from your favorite players from any variety of sports you can possibly imagine. You could also do cross-pollination, right? You could do a baseball and a basketball lineup at the same time, include players from both sports on your same lineup. Prize Picks is the most fun that I've ever had on a daily fantasy sports app. Why not join the party? Download the Prize Picks app today. Use promo code Fletch. Whether you're going to a bunch of baseball games, you're watching every baseball game, a lineup in that game makes it a lot more interesting. When I was at Petco Park yesterday, watching Michael King dominate, I was having so much fun because every inning he dominated was one more inning closer to my goal. And I did. I won yesterday. Thanks to Sammy's lineup. $100 in my bank account this morning because on Prize Picks, your withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. I literally withdrew $100 this morning around 6:02 a.m. By 6:15 a.m., it was in my bank account. You can bank on it. Download Prize Picks today. Use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. Get the $50 bonus and run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Coming up tonight, 6 o'clock, SDFC Midweek Live, hosted by Darren Smith. You'll hear from the head coach of the club, Mikey Vadas. You will hear all the latest, current, and up-to-date MLS information from D. Smith. That's coming up tonight, 6 o'clock, right here on San Diego Sports 760, SDFC Midweek Live. All right, we've been running this contest out for the last 2 days. Yesterday, all the computers in the building broken. We adapted. We improvised. We stayed alive. Today, computers are back online, so we have access once again to the TalkBack mic on the free iHeartRadio app. If you're unfamiliar, you open up the free iHeartRadio app, you search San Diego Sports 760, add us to your presets while you're at it, but then you find that little red microphone icon right next to the play button in the top right corner of your screen, and you can leave us a 30-second voicemail. That voicemail goes directly to Sammy's computer. We can play it here on the air. If you ever have thoughts about the shows, compliments on Sammy's hair, we'd love to hear about it. But over the last 2 days, we've been collecting these talkbacks about your favorite, I'm going to mess it up.
Blunt rotation.
Blunt rotation.
Who do you want to smoke weed with, alive or dead?
Celebrities, musicians, golfers, whatever. We want to hear about it. Religious figures. I saw some of those come back on the talkback.
So people really want to get to know what happened back in the day.
The reason we're asking you to do that is because Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy Strings, and Sierra Hull are at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on May 15th for the Outlaw Music Festival. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. We are selecting the winner of those tickets for free on the talkback mic. We're actually going to select 2 winners today. So we've collected a bunch of them. Sammy has a few of his favorites pulled up right now. I have no access to this page, Sammy. So can we hear the one we got yesterday that I really liked first? Yeah. Let's hear from Talkbacker.
Craziest rotation would be Jesus, Betty White, and Isaac Newton. Don't ask me why. That's the craziest rotation ever, though.
Who is that? Who sent that in? Do you have his name pulled up?
No, he didn't leave. Feel free.
Well, if you click on it, it should show you the name. Just click on the talkback.
Click on the talkback. Tyson.
Tyson. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for leaving that talkback. I cannot argue with anything you said. That would be the absolute craziest rotation you could possibly think of.
That would be
Jesus, Betty White, who's one of my favorite actresses ever, by the way, and Isaac Newton.
A lot of knowledge in those 3.
That is a lot of knowledge. There for sure is. That's a good one. We got more?
We have a lot more here. We got right here.
Hey boys, Quacked on Padres here. I want to smoke with Sammy.
Hey,
I think that would be pretty awesome. Maybe Bellinger, Cody Bellinger. That'd be pretty cool. He seems like a pretty chill stoner. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Maybe AJ too.
As in Preller?
Yeah,
I'm going to guess he meant Preller.
So AJ Preller, Cody Bellinger, and Sammy Long.
See, Kiss Assery will get you nowhere. Quacked on Padres.
Quacked On's a legend, dude. He listens every day.
But just because Sammy is picking the winner, he's still picking the winner at random. So you don't need to just include him to make him feel good.
Quacked on Padres is a great stream as well. So phenomenal. I love to smoke weed with Quacked on Padres as well.
All right, what's next?
We have some more. Hopefully these are PG. I haven't previewed these.
My ideal 3-man blunt rotation would be Albert Einstein, Smokey from Friday, and last but not least, Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown's a solid pull. He'd say some weird stuff.
But here's the thing, though. If you're smoking with Antonio Brown, I don't think it would just be weed. I think there might be a few other substances that would be put in there.
This is fun.
Smokey from Friday, 1,000,000%.
All right, so this is to win the Outlaw Country Music Festival tickets, which is coming up in May. Sammy's idea, this entire thing. So if there's any complaints from, I don't know, like the FCC or anything, Sammy Long is the one.
It's legal. I don't understand why we don't have to pretend like people don't like that. If you don't like it, hey, it's your prerogative. You know, we're not forcing it upon anyone.
We got any more here that we can get to?
We got some other ones coming in, but we have some old ones. Some people ripping on our bands actually from last week. Remember when we did the most overrated bands?
Yeah, well, let's hear one of those.
Hey, Sammy, I'm pretty sure jury duty is your civic duty, not your civil rights.
Oh, this is...
Have a good day.
That was from earlier this week.
That was from jury duty. Here's...
Tim from Valley Center.
What up, Tim?
Probably too late, but I can't stand Aerosmith.
Dream on, Tim.
Oh, Tim.
Josie's got a gun. That's Aerosmith, right?
Tim. Appreciate you listening to the show. I can't get with you on that at all. I mean, that's insane to me. I mean, they inspired every single band that came after the 70s.
Keep the talkbacks coming in. We want to hear them. And we are going to pick a winner by the end of the show today, maybe 2 winners for those Outlaw Music Festival tickets where Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy Strings, and Sierra Hull are going to be performing at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. Keep leaving talkbacks for your chance to win. Before we get out of here right now, Magoon Guath back with the Aztecs. Miles Bird back with the Aztecs. Huge news for San Diego State basketball yesterday. The Scarlet and Black, Sammy, got a lot better yesterday for next year. Here's the reason why I'll say this is huge. Both of those guys are transfer portal dreams for Power 5 schools to bring into their program. Both of those guys, I'm sure, are leaving some serious dough on the table to come back to San Diego State. And you can read this however you want to read this. Maybe they really like living in San Diego. Hell, that's a good enough reason for me. It's expensive to live here. I'm not in a profession where you make a ton of money. I'm living in San Diego because I love San Diego and I love my job. Magoon Guath and Miles Bird, I think both looked at the options they had available. Magoon Guath, we know, was talking to Kentucky. We know they were talking to Michigan. Miles Bird said from the jump, it's either NBA or I'm here. He said that months ago now, while the season was still going on. But I think Magoon Guath took a look around and realized that the culture that they have at San Diego State for basketball, built by Steve Fisher, carried on by Brian Dutcher, carried on by Dave Velasquez, and every coach that walks through these doors, is something you don't necessarily get anywhere else in the country.
Yeah, and there's something to be said. This is not just kissing ass because we have the Aztecs.
No, please feel free to kiss away. You said the wrong colors earlier today.
No, I'm the only person at the station that has a degree from the school. Just want to make that very clear.
Oh, no, my wife has a degree from the school, but you did say red and gold.
Okay, I meant Scarlet and Black. We all established. I was looking at the Chiefs news. It was end of story. Don't worry about it. Mountain West, though, seriously.
Sure, it wasn't Niners news?
Well, what? Another departure? Brock Purdy getting overpaid? But no, seriously. San Diego, Viejas Arena. We all know one of the most like great places to play in the country, and a serious home court advantage. You think you see that around the Mountain West a lot. You see New Mexico, known for it. Utah State, great fan base, and I think, I wouldn't be surprised if that plays into it a little bit. Like, you go to some of these schools that it's like, I know Kentucky's got a rabid fan base, but you got a great coach, Brian Dutcher, who has put NBA talent out there and had some real success in the NBA. Great coaching staff. They recruited you, took a shot on you. And I think this team last year was really young. And if we probably got a little too excited after that Vegas tournament.
Yeah, we said it at the beginning of the year. Like John Schaefer and I on pregame, we're like, we don't know what to expect from this team, quite frankly, because they're young. They're relying on 3 freshmen to play serious minutes. Your best player coming into the year did not play a single second for you.
Right. And then you see them beat Houston. You see him beat Creighton. You see him, almost beat Oregon and play Gonzaga really tight here. So the expectations got really elevated, and probably a little unfairly that early on, because I think you saw that with the San Jose State almost losses, the Air Force game-winning layup from McKinney. It's exciting to see this team year 2 with hopefully Bird back. We know Magoon's back, and adding some other pieces. I feel like that could really be dangerous.
And let's not forget, Miles Bird was on the bench watching his team lose in the Sweet 16. Magoon Guath was a redshirt freshman on that team. So they've seen what San Diego State can do. They've seen teams that they've been a part of get to the Sweet 16 and beyond it in Miles Bird's case. What can they do next year to make that a reality for them? I think that is a big part of this as well. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We'll take a quick break. We got to touch on the NFL. We haven't gone there once today. We'll do that coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760.
This report is sponsored by San Diego Zoo Safari Park. The Padres are in action right now. Just got out of the top of the second. Dylan Cease is on the mound. The score is 0-0. And big news out of the NFL, per The Athletic, the Chiefs may be playing the Chargers week 1 in Brazil. The Chargers are the top choice to face them there. Step into springtime at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park from March 29th to April 20th. Celebrate the season of transformation with a stroll through Butterfly Jungle. Discover a kaleidoscope of beauty with butterflies of every size, shape, and color. Learn more about this vibrant world at sdzsafaripark.org.
San Diego Sports 760. This is the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. John and Jim go from 2 to 6. And then at 6 o'clock tonight, SDFC Live with Darren Smith. He's going to be talking with Mikey Vadas. He will have all the updated information, getting you ready for the game or the match this weekend against the Seattle Sounders. I do believe the Seattle team is coming down to San Diego for another home game.
Very, very historic franchise too, Seattle Sounders. So big opportunity for SDFC to make a statement. We've seen it against LA Galaxy. We've seen it against LAFC. Very excited for this one.
Are we going to this game this weekend, Sammy?
Should we go?
I would like to tailgate. I would like to drink many beers.
Can I say something?
Please do.
We're one of the sports stations. There's a lot of stations in this cluster here. Obviously, we got Channel, we got Kogo, KGB.
I'm on there every morning. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I am. I
listen to the show.
And
Fletch.
I listen to the show on my way to the gym.
6 to 10 a.m.
The little shameless plug right there.
Not shameless, shameful, but I'm happy to do it.
But and then I see at the game, I'm like, hey, we're the sports station. Where are our tickets? Where are our jerseys at? I see everyone else around here going to the game. I go, hey, what's some for Ben and Sammy? Can we get some love thrown our way?
How about I throw this one out there, Sammy? Let's buy some tickets. Let's just go.
But here's the problem though. I really like to sit in the big boy seats down low.
I can send you a link for the press credential, but I don't really want to go sit in the press box. I want to sit with the people.
Well, I want to sit with people too. Why don't we go as a press and then we just sneak over to the people?
Because then we're breaking rules, Sammy, and you just said it on air. So anyone can go back, find the podcast.
This goes out to people elsewhere,
Yes, Sammy, this goes out to everybody.
Hey, but I did see SDFC though. Chad Ochocinco said good morning from San Diego. SDFC retweeted and said, I don't know what you're doing at 7:30 on Saturday night. Maybe we should get a live nightcap from post-match SDFC with Nightcap and Unk.
You and I just hang out with Chad Ochocinco, or as you refer to him, Unk. I thought Shannon Sharp was Unk.
Shannon Sharp's Unk.
That's right.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. I'd like to go. I'd like to tailgate. I'd like to bring the Tacoma out there. My wife's not drinking right now because she's on this crazy diet for a bachelorette party she has coming up. So she could be our DD. I live like a block and a half away from Snapdragon Stadium. We can make this happen easily.
DD. All right.
We don't even need a DD. We can walk from my condo.
Walk across the bridge.
Yeah, that's all we got to do. It's easy. San Diego Sports 760. We are your home for SDFC, by the way. You'll hear that match coming up this weekend right here on San Diego Sports 760. One of the better broadcast crews I've heard in any sport, period. By Adrian Garcia Marquez, who is called every big game of every big moment of every big everything, is on the call for all of these. Darren Smith doing an excellent job on the color commentary as well. You'll hear from both those gentlemen as well as Mikey Varas tonight at 6 o'clock right here on San Diego Sports 760. I will say, obviously, we know what's going on right now. There is a game being played right now. Jackson Merrill not helping us out so far, Sammy.
Yeah, listen, we're all loving Jackson Merrill, 9-year, $135.
Guy gets rich, strikes out in his first at bat. What are we doing here?
Jackson, I don't know if you were listening to the show while you're warming up. I don't know, but we need over 1.5 bases. So
dude signs a paycheck, and all of a sudden
we need. Hey, there's a lot of game left.
All of a sudden,
hey Jackson, we need that baby. Come on.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, Sammy did include Jackson Merrill in his long shots today, which is cashed the last 2 nights. So Jackson Merrill, better step it up, bro. No signing a 9-year contract for $135 million just to strike out, to turn a fan base against you. That is the story of the day. Jackson Merrill signing that contract. He's going to be with the Padres for the next 9 years. And the player option, I don't think kicks in until after 9 years. Contracts are just pieces of paper. That's really all they are. But
this thing will get if he is on the trajectory that we think he is, this thing will get ripped up halfway through and they'll do a new deal.
If he tries to force his way out, but it's not like there's a player option in year 4.
Yeah, but you want to show good faith because he did. Jackson Merrill, which is surprising for how young he is that he's taking this much of a discount. It shows how good of a guy he is. You'd want to show some faith. I mean, if the Padres sitting here 4 or 5 years from now and he's one of the best players in baseball, I mean, he's earned the right. We see this in the NFL all the time. Josh Allen got a huge extension. Mahomes got money kicked his way after winning the Super Bowl. So it's like, you want to reward your guys.
There's going to be plenty of Jackson Merrill talk right here on this station from now until 6:00 tonight. But let's get over to the NFL for just a minute here, because if you missed it yesterday, all the talk around town was these owner meetings, right? And these votes on the new rules. Hawkeye technology has been approved for first downs. That's a big deal in the NFL. That's a big deal when it comes to guys like me and Sammy, who sit on the couch and are looking at our lineups, looking at our bets and saying, hey, that was a first down, dude, but these refs are freaking blind and couldn't figure it out. Well, that's not an excuse anymore. Hawkeye technology will be used in the 2025-26 NFL season to ensure that first downs are actually first downs, or not first downs, probably more importantly, are not first downs. Also yesterday, tush push will not be banned. They needed 24 votes. They got 16.
It got pushed to May, so it's tabled.
But that means 16 teams, 16 owners
were against it,
voted to ban the tush push.
And so they need 8 more. They need 24. They need a significant majority. You brought up a point yesterday, Fletch, I thought was interesting.
I wonder if it's 16-16. If 16 NFC, or I guess 15, because the Eagles would never vote to ban it. I wonder if 15 NFC teams said, screw this, we do not want the tush push.
Right, because if you're looking at it, well, let's look at it. The Bills,
15 NFC teams and the Chiefs.
Well, the Chiefs, I don't know if they have a problem with. I mean, certainly the Bills, they run it,
but the Chiefs don't run it anymore because Mahomes got hurt the one time they tried.
Yeah, the Chiefs never run. The last time they ran a QB sneak was in Denver. The first year they won the Super Bowl.
Wasn't that the year Mahomes tweaked his ankle,
his knee, and so Mahomes is begged. Mahomes is literally begged Andy Reid to let him run it, and they won't let him do it. This is interesting. Yeah, obviously, if you're in the same division, you're Washington, Dallas, New York, you want this play gone. If you're the Niners, if you're any team in the NFC, you want this play gone. And they see it all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if the AFC just doesn't care about it as much because they don't see it. The Bills are really the only team that's run it with a certain level of success in the AFC. But
including in the postseason this year, that was a first down.
No, I said it yesterday, but it's my favorite time of year. It's my favorite time of year when Josh Allen loses a playoff game to Patrick Mahomes. We have to change the rule. We have to make the overtime rules. Oh, I mean, if he doesn't touch the ball, I mean, this is ridiculous. And then I don't know how many more excuses we got to make for Josh Allen, but that's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day, indeed. And then the other one, the overtime rules have been changed, so now regular season overtime rules will reflect the postseason overtime rules.
This in the replay assist are my favorite.
The replay assist we'll get to in a second, but the overtime rule. So now both teams get a chance to touch the ball, even if it's a field goal. Both teams get a chance to touch the ball, even if it's a touchdown. Both teams get a chance to touch the ball.
Because I've heard the argument is that well, if your team can't stop them defensively, then you don't deserve to win the game.
Screw that. Offensives have gotten so much better since that argument made sense.
And the rules have favored the offense.
Right.
What you used to be able, I understood this in the 80s when it was like, yeah, you need to get a stop.
But you can go ahead and kill somebody in the 80s.
You could hit people. I mean, you could do whatever you wanted. I like that both teams get to touch the ball. I get it goes to sudden death after. Now you're going to see like college where if you win the coin toss, you're going to defer. Now, the Niners forgot to do this in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, but you're going to defer because you want to see what you have to get. I think it kind of creates a fun. It's going to let defenses play more aggressively because we've seen this in overtimes before where defenses dropping a prevent. I've never understood it because you just get walked down the field, but I'm excited about that one.
And the final rule change that got approved yesterday is the ability for refs to now pick up flags on plays that they obviously got wrong. So there's going to be a sky judge now at every game where a replay official sits up in the booth, or they might be in New York, but they're able to now pick up flags on like obvious face mask calls that were not face masks, obvious holding calls, roughing the passer calls that are not roughing the passer or holding calls. I think it's a good thing. It does not give you the ability to throw the flag after the sense. And Sammy and I talked about that a lot yesterday too. The reason that's good is because literally like you're me reffing a fifth grade girls basketball game, you could call traveling on every single play. If you're reffing an NFL game, you could call holding, you could call pass interference, you could call something on every single play. So it does not give you the ability to throw the flag, but it does give you the ability to pick the flag up. Hopefully, the only thing I beg the NFL, make it happen in a timely manner. Make it happen quickly.
Because they're kind of adopting the NBA thing, in that in the NBA you can challenge a play, you can challenge something, but you can't add a flag or add a foul to something, which I'm excited. I hope college basketball really adapts that because I think it's important at the end of games when there's a brutal call. I like
kind of have it already in the final 2 minutes of college basketball.
Yeah, it stops,
but it doesn't have as much power as this would have in the NFL.
Yeah, so I like that. And the roughing the passer, we've seen quarterbacks speak out about this. We've seen Josh Allen. We've seen Lamar, Mahomes, even where it benefits them, the roughing the passer. It's getting a little ridiculous. I mean, I'm tired of the fact that this whole you can't land on them. It doesn't even physically make sense. You're tackling someone. Your momentum is going that way. You're going to land on them. I don't like that, and I'm glad that hopefully I think we'll see some roughing the passers hopefully get reversed next season.
I certainly hope so. What's our countdown now for the NFL? September? So
Dude, I
we getting
can't
closer?
wait, man. It's like Sundays are such a bummer when there's no. It's like, oh
Yeah, you get a few really good Sundays. You get good Sundays during March Madness. You get great Sundays, Sunday during the Masters. But other than that, Sundays, we need them back in a big way, baby. Come on, NFL. Come on, college football.
NFL draft here in a month. We're very excited.
Make your way back to us. San Diego Sports 760. We'll take our final time out. When we come back, get you ready for John and Jim. Plus, pick our winner off the talkback, Mike. You still got about 5 minutes to get those talkbacks in if you want to win Outlaw Music Festival tickets coming up at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater in May. Who is your ideal blunt rotation?
How many times I had to tell you this? Yes,
I
blunt
keep
rotation.
thinking Stoner Circle, like in what's the TV show? 70s show. That's 70s show.
Yeah.
But blunt rotation. Who is your ideal living or dead celebrities, golfers, musicians, athletes, whatever? Who's your ideal blunt rotation? The best one randomly we will pick to be our winner for the Outlaw Music Festival tickets. That's coming up next. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John and Jim take over then. And right after that, STFC Midweek Live. Darren Smith is going to be talking you through a full hour of content. Mikey Vadas is going to join the show, talk about their win over the weekend over LAFC, preview the game against the Seattle Sounders coming up this weekend on Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. Padres game is going on right now. Nothing. Top of the third. Dylan Cease has had men on board or on base, but has been able to get out of jam so far. And we'll see if the Padres can extend to 7-0 on the year, which would be the best start in franchise history. 2 teams in the National League. I'd be willing to guess it's never happened before. 2 teams at 7-0 to start a season, but I'm not positive about that. I know the last time one team got to 6-0 was 2003 when the San Francisco Giants did it. But the Padres and the Dodgers are both off to rip roaring hot starts so far in 2025. Padres news of the day: Jackson Merrill signs an extension, 9 years, $135 million. If that's the first time you've heard it today, congratulations. You've stayed off social media. You've stayed away from radio. You probably have a pretty healthy life. But Jackson Merrill, the kid, Jackson Farrell Merrill, has signed a massive contract with the Padres to be here for a long time. That, I believe, is a completely team-friendly deal. Kind of incredible that Jackson Merrill and his agents agreed to sign this deal when you know if he would have waited a couple of years, he probably could have gotten a ton more money and maybe even more years added onto that with the way baseball contracts have gone so far. But he wanted to stay in San Diego. He said it during his press conference. He said he wanted to make sure that they were able to build a team around him. He just wanted to take care of his family. $135 million. You can take care of your family with that.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's super cool seeing him get that. It's well deserved. I mean, and then we've been talking about it. There's no sophomore slump. I mean, he's come out and been honestly one of the most
through 6 games.
I
don't know. He already struck out today.
He better hit the total bases.
Come on, Sammy.
We're gonna need that to hit. We have a, but yeah, no, Padres feeling good right now. Hopefully they get this win here, and then yeah, I mean, we've been talking about all show. You lock up the core, Tatis and Merrill. Good things can come off of that, and then hopefully Bogarts and can get his stuff turned around as well as Cronenworth. But
you can include Manny in the core for the next 10 years.
Manny's old.
Manny looks good right now, man. This is
I know, but
healthy.
Manny's not going to be here in 10 years. Manny's not going to be here in 8 years.
No, he's under
Manny's
contract
probably not going to
too.
be here in 5 years.
What do you? He's under contract too.
What is Manny like?
30, 31, 32.
Okay,
He's
all right.
still in
So
his
5
prime.
years. We have 5 more years of good play from Manny Machado.
Maybe more. You never know. Advances in modern medicine. Second Ricky Bobby quote of the day.
I like that. You snuck that in. You didn't have to say it though, because our listeners would have got it.
Yeah, but that's the second one of the day.
We
I
have
feel
a
like it's
great
important.
talkback that just came in.
All right, let's hear it. Because on all day on the Talkback, Mike, we've been qualifying you to win some Willie Nelson music tickets, and that's coming up in May. But we've been qualifying you by way of the Talkback, Mike. Sammy, let it rip.
Yo, I can't win, guys, because I live in Seattle now, but ideal blunt rotation would be Steve Hartman and Bill Walton, brother. Yeah.
That
rest
would
in
be-
peace to Bill Walton. But I tell you what, if that was what you were doing, you wouldn't get a word in. You'd just be listening for about 3.5 hours.
Well, Steve, it might actually calm him down. It might reverse him.
I doubt it. I think Steve would just keep going.
We're gonna have him on later this week, and he told an amazing story at our sister station up there at AM 570 this week that I don't even want to spoil it, but I cannot wait to ask him on Friday about this thing.
Like if you had, I've been sitting where you are right now, Sammy, when Steve had Bill Hartman on the show in the morning, and it was supposed to be like an 8-minute interview. I don't think they got done saying hi to each other by the time 8 minutes hit. And then you started getting into the actual conversation. It's like you say hello to Bill Walton back when he was alive, rest in peace. Bill Walton would just go for like an hour. And then all of a sudden he's talking about potholes around San Diego and riding his bike. You're like, wait, hang on. I asked you about college basketball, Bill. What's going on here? And Steve Hartman is the exact same way. As you heard, if you were listening last Friday when we had him on our show, that was chaos. I have no idea what Steve was talking about still. He was just talking.
I don't think Steve knows. Steve is the greatest because if you're ever out like drinking with him, he'll say a lot of stuff that you're like, yeah, I don't like that. Not really relevant. And then he'll slide in some super cool story that no one has ever heard before, but he'll say it like it doesn't matter. And then he'll be like, did I tell you about the time I was with the Raiders in 1975? You're like, wait, what was that? You were on the Dennis Miller show for how many years and all this stuff. And then he'll go into it and it'll be another 30 minutes, but it's the greatest.
Sammy, do you have our winners selected for the Outlaw Music Festival coming up in May?
Yes, we have Marcos Caballero.
Marcos, what up? We don't need to say last names.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Do I need to dump that?
No, you're good.
Okay. Marcos, you're going to the show.
Marcos.
Tyson's also going of the show.
Tyson, thank you for listening. Thank you for leaving talkbacks. We'll continue to do this throughout the length of this show's history, which we hope is around 50 years, somewhere in or around that mark. At least the length of Jackson Merrill's contract. How about we go for that? But you can leave talkbacks by opening up the free iHeartRadio app, listening to San Diego Sports 760, finding that little microphone icon in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. It's next to the play button. And when you hit that button, you got 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds to tell us about whatever you want. We want to incorporate this into our show in a big, big way. And that's a great way for you,
from y'all on the talkback mic,
for you to communicate with the show.
We're going to start taking calls as well. 858 says, I think Jeffrey Dahmer would have some good stories.
What the hell, dude?
He said Al Capone and Tiger Woods also.
I mean, I can't disagree with that, but that was dark, super dark.
It's creative. I'll give him that.
Sure. But I mean, like, Tiger Woods has not had a clean life at all.
It would be phenomenal to sit there.
I just want to sit back and listen to Tiger Woods talk for hours. And I don't want to hear anything about golf. I want to hear about that time. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, where he's juggling about 15 different ladies. Like, how do you even do that, Tiger? I have trouble with one.
He's a pro's pro.
All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. John and Jim are coming up next, and I'm sure they'll have lots of thoughts on Jackson Merrill's extension. I know for a fact John Schaefer is over the moon giddy about MAGOON, Guath, and Miles Bird making their way back to the Mesa for next season. So you'll hear all about it coming up next on John and Jim at San Diego Sports 760. Thank you for listening today. We really do appreciate it.